Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fiscal Talk. My name is Milica, and I'm a marketing manager at Fiscal Solutions. And besides me today is Tara Nedeljkovic. She is a legal consultant at Fiscal Solutions and my dear colleague. And we definitely want to finish that Hungarian fiscalization, right?
Yes, exactly. Hello, Milica, and thank you for having me
Hello,
again.
how are you, Tara?
I'm great. I'm really looking forward to making another video regarding Hungarian fiscalization. And I think this one is going to be really interesting. So, yes, thank you for having me once again.
Yes, definitely. So we started our fiscal talks, I think like 2 weeks ago with like some general overview of Hungarian fiscalization. Then we cover one specific topic. And today we also have one specific topic, which is fiscal documents in Hungarian fiscalization. So definitely, I must say that there are several different types of documents, of fiscal documents, when we talk about fiscalization in Hungary. So please, let's start with it and give us some introduction first.
Yes, of course. So thank you, Milica. As you mentioned, in Hungary, there are different types of fiscal documents, but we also need to cover some other documents which are non-fiscal, but that are also happening on the fiscal device. So, first of all, the main requirement in Hungary is that both fiscal and non-fiscal documents that are connected to fiscalization processes are created from the fiscal printer as the main fiscal device. That includes, of course, the regular fiscal receipt created for sales. Other than that, for instance, cancellation receipt, different reports that we have covered in the previous fiscal talk, and so on. And we can maybe categorize them into different categories, which are we can say there are other parts of these documents and different documents inside, but these would be the main ones that we want to cover here. Those would be first the so-called open day receipt, then the sales receipt, simplified invoice. Also, there is the void receipt or cancellation that is also referred to as. Other than that, there are bottle return receipt as a special type of receipt, fiscal reports, which there are several of those, and non-fiscal receipts as well, which have also some particular requirements that need to be met. So each of these documents, be it the fiscal ones or non-fiscal, have certain predefined elements and rules that need to be taken care of in order to stay compliant. Some are more complex than others, but all of them are covered, we can say, in enough depth and with many different details and examples in our webinars and in our workshop per se. But here we will cover what are the most important things regarding those.
Yes, great. Thank you. Great introduction. You are talking, and while you are talking, I'm counting how many reports and receipts we have. So if I had it right, I think it's about 7 reports, receipts that you have to have in Hungarian fiscalization. Great. My next question would be, of course, is it okay to cover the main requirements about and around fiscal receipts?
Yes. So that is maybe the best part and the best place to start here, and the best part of this we can say document discovery. So first, the very important thing regarding the fiscal receipt is that its layout needs to be created by the fiscal printer. So many of the elements are formed by the fiscal printer itself. That is, of course, true for the sales receipt, as well as some other receipts that are considered fiscal, such as a simplified invoice. Also in Hungary, the current regulations state that the sales receipts need to meet the requirements for value of the total mentioned on the receipt. So the total of the receipt, the amount that is the total value on each receipt needs to be either of zero value or equal to zero or over zero value. So you cannot have a sales receipt with a negative value as its total. What is also maybe specific for Hungary is that there are 3 possible sales receipt types of layout, which is actually something that is created depending on the business type that the particular seller uses. So we can here have three main categories, and they are noted as the first type of layout regarding the retail sales or the regular sales. Also, there is another type of layout that is created for fuel sales, and the third type is created for sales in healthcare, so with a certain particular health label. And these receipts are different in certain layout areas, and they would need to be used according to the predetermined purpose of their forming. So you cannot, in another type of business, you cannot use the layout from, for instance, from the layout of the receipt of another business type, and that is maybe the main distinction. Also, there are some other important parts of sale receipt that we would like to mention here. So first, that would include exact item data, which has different elements. We don't have enough time to go into detail to all of the elements, but certain item data needs to be present on each receipt. There are also particular header requirements for the upper part of the fiscal receipt. Also, there is a specific receipt name that needs to be written in Hungarian language. There is also receipt date and time, the sequence number of a particular receipt, as well as certain VAT rate and value specifications. But other than that, there are many more elements that would need to be accounted for. Also, in Hungary, the retail sales receipt contain a so-called control code of the Hungarian tax authorities, which is, we can say, a specific element that is present on receipts in Hungary. And there are particular points that explain certain restrictions in terms of what elements are possible on the receipt and where can they be put on the receipt. And all of this we have investigated thoroughly and have many more details regarding that, as well as examples of each receipt type.
Thank you, Tara. I don't know how do you actually have all those information in your head, but great. Thank you so much. When I listen to all of this, my first thought is always, whoa, they have really complex system. I mean, those receipts are really strictly defined, right? You can't use one for something else. I mean, you have the different receipts for everything, right? And like the
Exactly,
element
yeah.
needs and everything, it's really strictly defined, and which is great. Great job for Hungarian government. Besides all this, okay. So I have one more question, and that is to tell us something about the another receipt type, that's open day receipt that you mentioned.
Yes, so in Hungarian fiscalization, there is this special receipt type, which is called the open day receipt. That is how it is translated from Hungarian. And it actually, that name suits it because it needs to be done at a particular part of the fiscal day, which is the beginning of fiscal sales or doing any kind of processes on the fiscal device, which includes creating fiscal receipts. There are certain requirements that it needs to meet in terms of, first of all, layout, also time of issuing, usage, and particular elements which are obligatory parts of this kind of document. So, for instance, it always needs to be performed after the end of day report and before starting sales for a particular fiscal day. So you cannot, for instance, do many different things on the fiscal printer as the main, as a fiscal device in Hungary, as the main part of fiscalization in Hungary, unless you do this kind of report first. And for instance, it can have different status checks done. So when you do this open day receipt, you actually check what are some statuses of the fiscal printer, in what mode is it, and so on. So you can specify the initial float amounts and many other details that this receipt provides. And it is created so that there is some kind of a, we can say, a control mechanism. It is used in such a way that it needs to happen, as I said, before starting sales for each fiscal day.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the details. And of course, I have one great question, and that is the trend are definitely electronic receipts. So I would like to close today's fiscal talk with a question about how receipts in Hungary are created in the first place, and is the printed receipt obligatory?
Yes, so I agree about the trend of e-receipts, and it is important to note how it is currently in Hungary, even with this tendency in many different countries. So, receipt layout in Hungarian fiscalization is defined by the fiscal printer itself, while there is this part of a footer which is done as free text. Also, the layout and particular elements that are included on the receipt depend, of course, on the receipt type that we talked about. But nonetheless, all receipts in retail need to be created always from the fiscal printer if we're talking, of course, about retail sale. What when we talk about the form and do they need to be printed? So all receipts need to be issued in paper form in Hungary, therefore printed out. So it is not just enough to create them inside the device and not print them out and give them to the customer. They always need to be issued to the customers themselves. As for fiscal part of the online sales, the e-receipts can be issued as well, so that they are not they are allowed, that they are not forbidden. But currently, these receipts, the so-called e-receipts, can be only done as additional receipts to the regular printed receipt.
Okay, that fiscalization, right? You want to be in trend, but maybe your fiscal system doesn't allow that. So it's really complex when we talk about fiscalization, but that's our core business and we love it. I love to talk about it, and I always learn something new from you. Thank you, Tara, once again. This was
Thank
Tara
you.
Nedeljkovic, everyone. Yes. So thank you, everyone, for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And of course, we have our fiscal portal. I will put the link below, and go there and check it out. You can find all the documents, news, and even maybe the webinars that we do on our fiscal portal about every country. So about Hungary also. Thank you all once again for watching, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.